Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Read and Reread. I'm Angelia, and today I'm doing the 10 Untouched Books Tag. This tag was created by Rainier Books, and I was tagged by Pat with Book Chat with Pat. Their details in the comments, of course. And it's possible that I was tagged more than once, but I have poor record keeping. So if you also tag me, thank you so much. And thank you to Pat for tagging me for sure. I need to go back to writing them down. That was working for a while, and then I don't know, I lost the plot temporarily. So my apologies if I missed anything. So this is an original tag that has just one prompt, which I temporarily managed to misunderstand. But let me read you the prompt. Present 10 books from your shelves that have been there at least a year or more and present them. This is about creating awareness to read from our shelves, enhance sustainability, and maybe even saving some bucks. So when I first heard this tag, I somehow heard the words, but I thought that it said, present some books that you've had for 10 years and have not read. And the funny thing is that didn't throw me. I was like, oh yeah, gathering them. But that's not what it says. It's books you've had at least a year, 10 books. What I have done is I do have a few books here that I have had for at least 10 years, and then a few other more recent ones. So to give myself a little extra challenge with those oldies, I pulled out ones that I've never talked about before, because I've done some variations on this idea a couple of times. One time I did a video about books I've had for a really long time that I don't even plan to ever read, although maybe I will. Then I've done shelf shamers a couple of different times, things that I bought and I've had and I plan to read. So I tried to pull out some oldies that you haven't seen before, and then some more recent ones that you probably have, unless you're very, very new to the channel. And if I actually did read everything I own before I bought anything else, I don't think that I'd actually save any money, because I feel like there would be a repressed shopping that would just burst forth. It would just delay it. It wouldn't. This is my excuse for not participating in a read what you own challenge. But that's another topic for another day. Let's see what I have in this untouched books pile. And we're going to start with the oldies. The first one is a play that I found sitting on the shelf that I'm pretty sure I've never read, and it's The Devil's Disciple by George Bernard Shaw. Earlier this year, I read Pygmalion in my endless drama project, and I know in the past I've read Major Barbara, but I've never read The Devil's Disciple. But I have this old copy. This is an old Penguin copy, and it looks like this particular printing is 1966. The play is copyrighted 1941. Really, that's pretty late in his career. He died in 1950. Here's what it's about. No, this doesn't tell what it's about. The back is a biography of George Bernard Shaw. I don't know what it's about. And when you open it up, it just immediately begins with Act 1, a big narrative lead-in to Act 1. Oh, and somebody's written a lot of notes in it too. Old handwritten notes. So I know I've had this for decades. I don't remember where I got it, and I've never read it, and I have no idea what it's about. How's that for preparation? But here it is. Now that I'm all hot on plays again, I will probably look it up, find out what it's about, and see if I want to read it. I have another play, Lady Windermere's Fan by Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde will be showing up in October in Endless Drama with The Importance of Being Earnest, which is a reread. And I know I've read some other play, maybe, but I don't think I've ever read this one. And this is pretty quaint. It's the play, but it says presented as living theater with acting guides, reading guides, stage directions, and illustrations. So when you look in here, you got to get halfway through before it even gets to the play. There are indeed directions for building the stage and scenery. There are illustrations of what the costuming should look like. This is a pretty cute little book. And this was published in 1960, Barron's Educational Series. I wonder if this was, the idea was for school plays. The distinctive features of this edition of dramatic masterpieces are designed to enable the reader to visualize the actors and action while reading their lines. And there's a whole series of classics that got this treatment. All kinds of goodies in here. So I should definitely read this. This one looks like a lot of fun. Now here's a pretty little book that I've had for decades. I think I got this in the 80s at a library book sale just because it was so pretty. And it is Mosses from an Old Manse by Nathaniel Hawthorne. It is very old. It has one of these tissue covers over a portrait of Hawthorne. Okay, look at the typeface here. Tiny, tiny print. I don't know how old this is, but this is some sort of little fancy edition of Mosses from an Old Manse. Read some other Hawthorne, short fiction, The Scarlet Letter, various things, but I've never read this. The next untouched oldie is another author that people have been talking about a lot this summer, and it's John Steinbeck with The Wayward Bus. At one point I think I did show this once in a video because I was examining my shelves and I had 2 copies and they were both these vintage copies. It was so weird. Like I picked it up twice at 2 different book sales or something. And I think this is a first edition. There's some damage on the cover, but it's a pretty cool illustration. And it does say on the back, John Steinbeck's first full-length novel in 8 years illustrates again the amazing versatility of his interest and his genius. Da-da-da-da-da-da. In this new novel, John Steinbeck is a writer who is still developing, who still refuses to conform to any expected pattern, who still brings to each book a fresh and new approach. In this new novel, he uses one of the oldest storytelling devices in literature to write about a group of people who find themselves by accident sharing an adventure which lasts less than a day. The story of what happens on the bus ride, okay, then it goes on, like the whole page is a description. And clearly the way this is written as if it's blurbing a new release. So I think I have a little treasure lurking there on my shelves with this first edition Steinbeck. And how weird that I at one point had 2 of them. And yet I haven't read it. And I like Steinbeck. I've read several and have several more that I'd like to get to. Just waiting patiently over the years. All right, the last one in the books I've had at least 10 years category is big. It is a poetry anthology, Poems for the Millennium, the University of California Book of Modern and Postmodern Poetry, Volume 1. I don't know when I got this, but it's a big honker, and I rediscovered it. I've been lugging this around all across the United States for decades. I think I got this in the 90s. I just recently found it again because I've been going back through all of my poetry collections and reigniting my love of poetry and reading old books and buying new books. And then I discovered this one and I'm thinking, I picked this up and I must have had great intentions, and it's just kind of been sitting around. I don't even know. I'm flipping through it and it seems to be pretty international. I don't know how diverse it is culturally, but I'm just glancing through. I'm seeing a lot of European poets and some American poets. I don't know who all's in here. I guess I need to find out because this is a lot to have not read. And now we enter into the more current part of this video of untouched books. So these, you've probably seen them before if you've been with my channel for just a little bit. First of all, we have Clarice Lispector, an author that I became very keen to try about 3 years ago. And it was after I read The Sentence by Louise Erdrich. And in that book, there are some conversations about Lispector. And then there's a recommended reading list in the back of the book. And I thought, wow, I've never read anything by her. And then I bought this pretty little volume with the stars on it. It is called The Hour of the Star. And let's see who the translator is. Translated from the Portuguese by Benjamin Moser. There's an introduction by Colin Toynbee and a reminiscence by Paulo Gurgel Valente. And it's short. And you know I like my shorties, but I have read it not. And I know that I have put this in some TBRs. It would be great for Women in Translation Month. Have a very stacked list. Plus, now the bookers have come rolling in. That's a whole other topic that I won't get into here. But it would also be great for Shorty September. So I hereby declare on camera today, July 30th, that I will read this book in either August or September this year. And if I don't, nothing will happen. The next one I got a couple years ago with some Christmas money, and I was all keen to read it, and I haven't done it yet. It's Absolution by Alice McDermott. I have enjoyed several books by Alice McDermott. This one had good reviews. It sounds so interesting. It's about some American women who are wives of, I think, officers during Vietnam, and they are living in Vietnam, in Saigon. In 1963, they kind of form a little, it says a wary alliance, so maybe not exactly a friendship group. And then it goes forward into time 60 years later with the daughter of one of those women. It's one of those looking back over time things. It has a lot of elements in it that really appealed to me, and somehow I just keep not picking it up. And it has a pretty cover too, so I can't explain it. Another one that I am at a loss to explain is Small Worlds by Caleb Azumah Nelson. I think he's a British Ghanaian writer who lives in London. And I know he had another book called Open Water that also was highly reviewed. I bought this when we were in San Francisco 2 summers ago. And I bought 2 books. I read the other book, and then this one, I picked it up. There was a bookmark just a little ways in. I know that this isn't entirely untouched. This is very lightly touched because I read a little bit of it, and then for unknown reasons, I put it down. It wasn't a DNF. I think it was I have to read some other stuff. Maybe it was like library deadline kind of problem or something like that. But I set it aside, meaning to come back, and I have not come back. It's about a young man living in London. It's like a coming-of-age story. It says it's set over the course of 3 summers. A young man named Stephen has a brother named Ray, and which has funny. My husband's name is Stephen Ray Lewis. His best friend is Adeline, and he's going to university. He's a musician. His parents are Ghanaian immigrants. So it's that kind of coming of age story, changes in relationships, changes in life path, growing up, leaving home, cultural aspects and all of that. So it has, again, elements that sound really appealing to me. I bought it, love this cover, and then I kind of forgot about it in my shelves. Another one that I was so excited to buy, it was again one of those after Christmas Barnes & Noble sales from a couple of years ago. It might have been at the same day that I got this one. We got, for the household, a copy of The Complete Mouse, and I've never read it. I know. Let's just sit with that for a moment and just let this kind of feel the shame. All right, and then, honorable mention. I don't even want to talk about it. Last but not least, I am not Percival Everett. No, I'm not Percival Everett. I am not Sidney Poitier by Percival Everett. I was so excited to find a copy of this book. I love Percival Everett, and I have put this book in multiple TBRs, and I haven't read a Percival Everett book in this calendar year, but I've had this one sitting in my cart ever since January. I have no reason that I can assign to continuing to miss out and not read this book. Okay, there you have it. I think that was 10. If it wasn't, oh well. Untouched books or barely touched books in my shelves. I don't foresee any solution to this problem. I will eventually read these books. The new books will age into the bracket of being here for a year. It's not going to stop. Some books I buy and I read them almost right away. Other books, they wait, and I really cannot tell when I buy them what it's going to be. It's a mystery. I think that I'm going to instantly read everything, but that's not the way it turns out, is it? So let me know your thoughts on any of these books, your experiences. Any particular books that you feel very tardy about not reading, I will be back for Friday reads. Have a wonderful rest of your week.